Cause you don't know football. Reek put us together like the Avengers. For the love of the game, this ain't for the pretenders. Used to strap them up, that's why we qualify. So when I tell you you don't know, I won't apologize. It get ugly on the gridiron, and I'm tired of watching all of these analysts misfire. This raw ain't politically correct, but either way you put it, man, we blessed. Tell y'all networks they should get hip to us. Moving on to big things when they pitch to us. A hot take can make you put on the gloves, but at the end of the day, it's all love. So as you gon' bring the stats to the room, or maybe the eye test to the Zoom, just know we appreciate y'all. But cause you don't know football, cause you don't know football, cause you don't know football, cause you don't.
All right, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
All right, so let me give a little heads up to anybody who's doing a podcast out there. Let me give you a tip. Push record. That's all I'm gonna say. Just push record. That's all you got to do. It's not that hard. Don't be like me.
It's all good.
So, going back, and by the way, I recorded everything. I was sitting here just like this. You weren't even here yet. I was like, oh, this is gonna get recorded. So, we're just going to jump right back into where we started with this part 2. And we're going to start back with the Buffalo Bills. So, Buffalo Bills. What is the fatal flaw of the Buffalo Bills? Why will they not win the Super Bowl?
Their fatal flaw is in their defensive line, both in terms of a lack of a pass rush and in a weakness and an inability to stop the run. So from a stopping the run perspective, they have Ed Oliver, who's their best defensive tackle, but he's kind of on the smaller side, and they don't really have the stout defensive tackles or the scheme behind them to really stop the run in critical ways or in critical moments. And from a pass rush perspective, they have Greg Rousseau, who's their best defensive end edge rusher, and he's fine. But he's not somebody who you can really rely on to go get a sack when the team needs a sack. I don't know that that's going to get in their way in terms of getting wins during the regular season. However, you watch playoff football. There are moments when it's like 3-4 minutes left and your team has to get a stop, either get that sack to get that opposing offense off the field or stop the run on that third and short or fourth and short. And I just don't have confidence that they have the players or the scheme in place to be able to do either. It'll be one thing if they were strong against the run and weak against the pass or the pass rush, or vice versa. Because if you're strong in one area, then you can force a team into situations where you know what they're going to do. They can't do that right now.
Mm-hmm. So my fatal flaw for them is pretty much you took my note. But it's more singularly pass rush. Through Josh Allen's tenure, they've never had a guy or had two guys that can just get to the passer. And that has always held them back when they need it. Everybody always goes on and says Josh Allen needs more weapons. He needs more receivers. He needs a tight end. He needs all these things. There's nothing. They don't need to change a thing with that offense. They need two guys that can go get the passer. Now, before we were talking about the situation, yes, I understand that Buffalo tried. Okay, I'm aware that they tried. For me, defensive end and pass rusher is something that's a specialized thing, and it's more specialized than probably any other position group. And what I mean by that is there's the great ones are great, and there's a big difference between who is great and who is just good enough to get it done. Did they draft a guy in like the 23rd pick in the first round for defensive end? Yes. Did they draft guys in the second round? Yes. Did they go get Von Miller? He was old, but yes. Did they go get Joey Bosa? He was old, but yes. So they did invest it. For me, you gotta go in the top 5 and go get that guy. Sometimes there are guys that are great later in the draft. Trust me, I know that. That's not the rule. That's such an anomaly that you can't predict that. But the guy in the top 5, that is all world, you can see that. And you need to be, especially if you can't draft it right, you got to be giving up your draft and saying, what do you want so that I can go get that guy?
Yeah, I mean, look, as I was saying before, in the moment, I thought it was a good choice for them to stay where they are because they've been so good for so many years in a row that they pick at the end of the first round most years. I thought it was good for them to stay there, keep their draft capital, and draft a Greg Rousseau or AJ Epinesa or whomever. Um, it turns out that didn't work. They didn't draft the right guys, or they didn't have the right defensive scheme that can put those players in position to succeed. So yeah, maybe you're right. They should have traded up into the top 10 or top 5 to get a truly elite pass rusher, and they'd be in a better position.
Actually, question. Isn't that why isn't that why you look for a great quarterback? Because for the completion of the whole roster, you need a little bit less. So you should be able to invest a lot of those picks instead of filling out the whole roster and getting some specialty guys on rookie contract. Isn't that why you have a great quarterback on your roster?
Well, part of having a great quarterback on your roster is that you're paying that player at the top of the league salary. And there's a hard salary cap in the NFL. It's not necessarily about spreading the wealth in terms of talent. It's about spreading the wealth in terms of money. Like, you need that inexpensive talent to be on a rookie contract for 4 or 5 years while you're paying the quarterback $60 million plus or whatever it is when they're at the top of the league. So, keeping your 7 picks in a draft versus trading a couple of them to move up, that's every pick that you trade away. That's probably a player that you have to sign in free agency, which is just going to be more expensive. So that's where the thinking around that comes.
Okay. All right, cool. So let's move on to the Los Angeles Rams. When I created this whole when I created this segment, when I created the Fatal Flaw series, I had teams in mind that would say the team that's probably going to win the Super Bowl, we still got to say something bad about them. Okay. So I understand who the Los Angeles Rams are. I understand who's on that team. But we still got to tell the people, why are the Los Angeles Rams not going to win a Super Bowl this year?
Yeah, you're right. They're probably, if not the favorite, they should be the favorites to win the Super Bowl. This is probably the only time in this whole series of podcasts that you're doing that special teams is going to be named as the answer. But it really is, because last year, they struggled to find consistency in field goal accuracy. They had a bunch of field goals that were blocked from a fumble punt returns and drop punts and muff punts and everything like that. I think they gave up the most yards per in terms of punt returns last year. And I don't know that they've done much at all to fix that. And even if they did bring in new players, new kicker, new punter, new punt returner, or what have you, special teams is a very volatile, part of team building from game to game. Even success or failure can come. So the fact that they're starting from such a bad place, maybe they can strike, lightning can strike, and they find the consistency on that side. But entering the season, that's their biggest weakness.
I really don't have a reason why the Rams won't win the Super Bowl. I have to think that you're right. Special teams, they didn't have, or there were some drop punts, there were some missed field goals, there were some blocked field goals. I have to imagine they looked at their offseason and said, we have to target that in terms of what we have to do. But the only reason that I could see them not winning the Super Bowl is injuries, wrong guy go down. I mean, that could definitely, and God forbid that, but that could definitely ruin what they had or what they wanted to do this season. So outside of injuries, man, this roster is crazy. And I also want to add this. For me, and I want your opinion on this because I've actually thought about this. This building of where they are right now is the best roster building that I have ever seen. Let me explain that a little bit more. When they won the Super Bowl with Aaron Donald, they mortgaged their future. They mortgaged it like 3 different times back to back to back to back.
SM
So
picks. That's been
so
their mind.
so when teams usually do that, they're usually terrible for the next like 6 years. Yeah. And that's just not, we're not even talking about Super Bowl contender. We're talking about playoff contention. Terrible. 6 years minimum. They never even missed the playoffs since they did that. And they had mortgaged their future. So for me, what I have watched with these Rams, I have to say this is the most impressed that I have been looking at going to win a Super Bowl, mortgaging what you had to mortgage to win a Super Bowl, not missing the playoffs at all, and then getting back to the point where now you're contenders again. I've never seen that.
Yeah. So a couple of things. One, I think it gets a little bit overstated that they mortgage their future because, and like the whole F them picks, sort of tag that they've been given because they definitely were trading first round picks. That's definitely the case. But it's not like they were trading all of their picks. They made a lot of picks in the later rounds. And to their credit, to the team building credit that you just made, they basically nailed all of those later round picks. Most of those, if not all, probably most of those later round picks are contributing players. You add that to the fact that, McVay on offense, and they've had really good defensive coaches as well. But McVay as the head coach and sort of the mastermind on offense, they have an approach that they really, the coaching staff really puts the players in position to succeed year after year. So it's a combination of team building, trading first round picks for players who are proven, like Myles Garrett, for instance, and then really landing those draft picks. Fifth round linebacker starts for them and actually plays pretty well because not only does that player have talent, and was identified as having talent, but the coaches actually put him in position to play as one example.
So it wasn't just the picks too, but it was the salary cap because they had to pay all these people. So they basically, so when you break down a salary cap and say, all right, we're not going to pay you all of this year, we got to spread it out over a couple years. So they're paying people like 5 years later that are like, they ain't played there in 5 years. So they did like, that was happening on top of not having these first and second round picks.
Yeah, no, I think that happened in instances too. I don't look. They've been successful. They've really turned on the idea. They turned on its head was that you really need to keep your picks in order to build your team over the long term, over 5 years, let's say. They really proved that you can do it the other way if you're smart about it, and if you again land picks, identify players who can actually play and then put a scheme together that actually works for those players. It positions them to succeed. One thing, that came up last year in the draft, or this most recent draft, when they drafted the quarterback in the first round, people thought that they should have drafted a wide receiver like Mekhi Lemon, for instance. I thought they actually should have drafted a backup, like a lineman, because if there is any weakness, it's around like sort of the tackles and guards. It's not a weakness; they're not bad, but like they're kind of thin there. And one
injuries.
Yeah, and so one way that they could that the team could really fall apart is it's not an injury to Matthew Stafford, but an injury to like the left tackle, who then can't, and then the backup can't block whoever the edge rushers are that they're playing against. So like they might have, a potential fatal flaw is they don't, week 6 their starting left tackle is out, like you said, injuries, and the backup just ain't it. And they had an opportunity to draft a credible rookie tackle, but instead they drafted a quarterback.
I got you. All right. So now we're going to be talking about last year's Super Bowl. I didn't even plan this. But now we're talking about the two teams in the Super Bowl. So I guess we should start with the losers. The New England Patriots in the 2026-2027 season. Why will the New England Patriots not win the Super Bowl?
This one's actually pretty easy for me. It's offensive line, and it's the tackle in particular, the left tackle. Now I don't remember the guy's name. Played at LSU. He was a rookie last year.
Keep talking.
He played fine during the regular season, then got hurt. They say he rushed back. He had a knee injury. They say he rushed back from the knee injury, played in the playoffs, and played horribly. Like and in the Super Bowl, like all of his flaws were exposed. They like when he was drafted. I don't remember so much about him, but not his name. When he was drafted, they said his arms were too short. to play left tackle, and the Patriots drafted him anyway. And like it
Will
really looked like Will Campbell. It really looked like Will Campbell's arms were too short in the Super Bowl. Like, and maybe it was because of the injury, maybe because like he just didn't have good balance and everything was all whack because of that. But if he doesn't improve, and he has to, I say improve over what his best performance was last year, then that offensive line overall is not going to be good enough to protect the quarterback to take advantage of all the wide receiver talent they have now.
No, right now I'm looking at ESPN.com. They have Will Campbell slated as the backup. The starter left tackle right now slated is James Hudson III.
I don't even know who that is, but that's interesting. Did Will Campbell like have off-season surgery or something that like makes it that like he might not start the season or won't be in training? That's wild. I didn't know that.
Backup. That doesn't mean he'll stay there. That just means right now he's slated as the backup.
Yeah, but I mean, like, the starter is usually listed as a starter. Like,
Mm-hmm.
this wouldn't happen to like Lane Johnson, for instance.
Gotcha. New England Patriots for me, too much noise. Of course, Vrabel in his offseason, he's had an interesting offseason. You know what I mean? But he's got his controversy. I'm not doling in on what he is. But even bringing in AJ Brown and what seems with that. Now, he hasn't said nothing now, but he wasn't happy. He felt like he was off of a Super Bowl trajectory, not Super Bowl, excuse me, a Hall of Fame trajectory with the Eagles. So I would imagine in his head, he's like, oh, the Patriots are going to put me back on the Hall of Fame trajectory. And that could get very noisy too, because Vrabel doesn't never really seem like the kind of guy that says, I care about your numbers. I kind of want to win, So I just see a lot of noise and a lot of potential of noise. Depending, we were just saying it. Left tackle right now is slated as the backup, and that's supposed to be their starting left tackle. You know what I mean? Will Campbell. So I don't know. Some weird stuff's happening there. I don't know if you want to say noise or some weird stuff's happening there.
Yeah, I mean, so AJ Brown and Vrabel have a great relationship from when they both were in Tennessee.
They did not have a good relationship in Tennessee. They have a good relationship now because they understand each other now. But when they were in Tennessee, they both had interviews when they were talking about it. They didn't like each other in Tennessee like that.
Interesting, because what I understand is when management traded AJ Brown, that was the moment when Vrabel basically decided that he was going to be leaving Tennessee. Anyway, if what you're saying is true, then okay, I take it back. I'd be more worried that AJ Brown is not past his prime, but the injuries start to catch up to him. Because when in Tennessee, he was pretty injury prone. In Philly, he actually played. I was surprised at how much he played in Philly. I thought he'd have more injuries based on his experience at Tennessee. I'd be like, there was a debate last year as to whether or not AJ Brown, like his drop in performance was because of the offense and Jalen Hurts, or because like his knee is bothering him and that's just going to be a chronic situation going forward. So I'd be a little bit concerned about that if I were them. But he's still better than what they were throwing to last year, even if he is AJ Brown of last year. Whatever he looked like and whatever his production was would be an improvement over the receivers that they had last year. Yes. Plus they're bringing in Dobbs as sort of the second receiver. So I think their passing game is going to be pretty good, so long as the offensive line blocks for Drake May.
Absolutely. So I kind of likened what I was hearing about AJ Brown and Vrabel to young Kobe and Phil Jackson, where it's like, I respect you, but like I kind of want to kind of do this way, and the coach saying, I'm not trying to hear that. So
yeah, well, it took Kobe a long time to even get to the I respect you part.
There's some maturity, and I think AJ Brown matured, and that's why he's like, I get what they're saying. I just want to kind of come in and let's get these wins now, and boom.
Okay.
So finishing off everything, the Super Bowl champion, Seattle Seahawks. That was last year. This is this year. Why Seattle not going to win the Super Bowl this year?
I think the biggest reason is interior offensive line, and that relates to the quarterback. So let me explain. So their weakest part on their offense is their interior offensive line, the center and guard. And it's not, and like even last year it struggled a little bit. And when Sam Darnold struggles most, it's because he's getting pressure up in his face, up like right directly to him, not coming off the edge.
Mhm.
And so like the combination of the lack of sort of overall talent at the interior offensive line, plus just I will never trust Sam Darnold. I know he just won a Super Bowl. I give him all the props in the world. He did what he
Post I put up about that.
He said again.
Did you see the post I put up about that?
Nah, what'd you say?
It is a picture where people are saying like, "Oh, this is when I was bad. I was bad here, but now I'm this guy, and now you're mad." I was like, "Y'all gonna make him look terrible this year because you're putting expectations on Sam Darnold."
Well, look, but you win the Super Bowl. If you're the starting quarterback for the Super Bowl team, he answered every criticism that I had of him because I didn't think he'd be able, he didn't like he wasn't lights out by any means, but he played within an offense in a way that he wasn't turning the ball over. And he'd get this one or two big plays down the field. And that's really all you need from him, especially last year for that team. If Jalen Hurts can continue to get criticism even after he was a Super Bowl MVP, Sam Darnold can definitely continue to get criticism for his play because he is a limited quarterback. But he won the Super Bowl. I'm not taking that away from him. He definitely won the Super Bowl. But the combination of the offensive line and interior in particular, plus what I think is just an inconsistent quarterback, I think would be the fatal flaw.
Okay. I just wanted to bring this back up from where I was, and let's see, where's Seattle? Because what I have to say is very short and sweet. I just wanted to get the names of it. So my fatal flaw for the Seattle Seahawks is they're just cheap. Why nobody? They let everybody go. Like this is the problem when you look at Sam Darnold act like he's not Sam Darnold. I didn't say he's bad. I'm saying he's Sam Darnold. So you need the supporting cast. So when you let go, Cam Akers gone, Kenneth Walker the third gone, Boye Mafe gone, Tariq Woolen gone, Kobe Bryant gone. Like you should have paid them. Okay, you should have paid them. You're going to regret not paying them, and I can see that the writing is on the wall for that. So, like y'all were just being cheap, man. Like look at the Rams. Like they pay everybody, and we don't know how they figure it out. You gotta pay your players. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, look, again, it's a hard salary cap, so you got to make decisions at some point. They decided not to
Like go sit next to Les Snead and
mortgage the future.
put your ear there
The
to
extent that the Rams do. But I mean, we can say that the Rams do it year after year. But if we're talking about fatal flaws as a team not making the Super Bowl, the Rams won the Super Bowl one time 5 years ago and haven't been back since. So like, it has worked in terms of being a consistent team, but it has not worked in terms of getting them back to the Super Bowl.
Okay,
Maybe this will work for Seattle in terms of getting back to the Super Bowl.
fair point.
But you make a good point, especially in their defensive backfield. I think Kobe Bryant and Rick Woolen, like that's a lot of defensive backfield depth that's gone.
It's half of your DBs.
Yeah, I mean Rick Woolen started half of the year last year, and like he's looking really good this summer in Philly. So that could be a real problem for them. Especially as they already don't have like the greatest pass rush in the league anyway, and they lost Boye Mafe. I think to Cincinnati. The pressure on the defensive backs is going to be even more this year than it was last year. Now they have the head coach is a really good defensive mind, so it's up to him to put the players that he has in the right positions to succeed. But they lost a lot of depth.
I mean, I hope you're right because they lost the stars on their defense and their Super Bowl MVP.
I mean, the stars on the defense.
They got one defensive end that's on his rookie contract. I'm going to get his name, but it's
well, like they got Leonard Williams. They got the D tackle that you're talking about, and like Witherspoon is their best defensive back. He was last year.
Witherspoon is definitely the star of the team. You're absolutely right on that defense. They got what is his name? Nothing. No, Byron Murphy. No, that's not who it was.
Byron Murphy.
Byron Murphy. Okay. Yeah, Byron Murphy. There was some African guy that was on his rookie contract, didn't they?
Say it again.
They had like they had an African guy. I might be tripping on that.
Boy Mafe was the defensive end.
No, maybe that's what I'm thinking about. Boy, my fact. But yeah, man, you gotta pay your players. Let's come on, man. Like you drafted them, you did a great job drafting. You can't just let them go. You gotta pay them. So that's my fatal flaw. So with that said, we did a part 1 and 2 and 3. I'm glad you don't know football.
He like 2.5.
Because and once again, everybody, if you got a podcast at home, let me give you some advice. Let's record. Okay, don't. It's not gonna work out well for you.
Because you don't know podcasting.
Because we should listen. That's a whole. You see, now we're talking network. You see, we went from one podcast to network. You see, this is why everybody like you. You see, you're a visionary. But with that said, listen, you came on here. You got any other words? Anything that you want to get off your chest before you go?
Nah, just watch out for my Eagles. They're coming back. I think they're going to be really good. I don't know what you said about my Eagles in the previous podcast, but I have confidence that the defense is definitely back, and I think the offense is going to struggle early on, but it's going to come together by the end of the year, and it will be a real contender by the time we're talking about playoffs.
And I might be in the minority in this, but I'm talking about as far as like 4 teams. I really like that. The NFC East is going to be tough this year.
I think Dallas is going to be really good. Like Dallas, I think with just a little bit of improvement on defense, I think that offense is already legit. Washington, like, what are they? I mean,
it's not Washington. It's the Giants. The Giants is going to be sneaky, man. Listen,
Neighbors is not even. Did you see the video of Neighbors trying to run this summer?
But
he ain't back. If he's not back, they don't have no receivers. And then it's just Jackson Dart running into people.
I have to imagine he'll be back.
All right. If he's back, then they got a chance.
Listen, Daniel Jones tore his Achilles at the end of the year, and he's ready to go. I mean, I think he's going to be fine.
Yeah, but I've seen Daniel Jones in the mini camps, and he looks like he can be ready to go. Neighbors don't look like he's ready to go. He looks like he's limping, like he can't run. Mm-hmm. We'll see.
Okay, if Neighbors ain't there, I'll give you that. But I think Neighbors gonna be there, and I think listen, the Giants. If the Giants is the third worst team in that division, I'm looking at who's the third worst team in all the other divisions. Ain't too many divisions better than that.
That could be right. I think just off the top of my head, I definitely think the NFC North is a deeper division. NFC West too. Cardinals suck, but
that's what I'm saying. I don't know. I don't know if the Vikings are definitely better than the New York Giants.
I guess we'll see.
We'll see. I'm just doing it. So I think the NFC West is definitely a better division. I think the AFC West is better. The AFC East is not better. The AFC South is not better. The NFC South is not better.
What about the AFC North?
I think the AFC North is going to have a low year. I don't really like them as much this year.
Yeah, Steelers aren't going to be. I mean, I'd be hard pressed not to have both Cincinnati and Baltimore in the playoffs, but we'll see.
See, I don't know what to think about Cincinnati. Like Cincinnati could go 6-10 and be like, "Oh yeah, I can see that coming," or they could be like 10-6.
I mean, they got Dexter Lawrence, they got Boye Mafe, they got their defenses. I think it'll be better. I don't know if it'll be good, but it'll be better. And the offense is already next to unstoppable.
But their offensive line is bad. Like you hear Joe Burrow at the end of the year talking about he might have an Andrew Luck type situation where he's just like, I'm not going to get hit this much. Okay, I'm going to quit if you.
He better get his butt under center so and maybe to run the ball more.
He let him know. I'm probably gonna quit if you don't stop getting me hit.
A lot of that is on him because he won't go under center. He wants to stay in shotgun. He better go under center and hand the ball off more.
He didn't sound like he cared.
Well, then I guess he is going to be out of here in 4 seasons.
I'm all right. So I got to see it to believe it with the Bengals. I'll give you that. I got to see it to believe it. But with that said, I mean, you can check out our full episodes on Spotify and YouTube. check the reels on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. We doing the damn thing. You came on here and told me why all these teams, they wasn't going to win the Super Bowl. And I'm still here to tell you, don't you don't know football, man. What you talking about? I'm your boy Reap. Just like Martin said, I'm going to see you when I see you. Peace.